The flats, the Miller Lite Cleveland Open, Chris Marlowe and Paul Sunderland and about 5,000 Sun worshippers set for semifinal action. Scott Ayakatubby and Tim Hovland playing together for the first time, going up against Brent Frohoff and Ricky Luyties. Frohoff and Luyties have been together for the entire year. The weather today, beautiful, sunny, and we are still defrosting from yesterday when it was about 35 degrees. The Cleveland sand, 900 tons of glacial sand from a quarry about 30 miles away. It's 8 inches deep. It is wet and hard, they tell me. So Scott Ayakatubby to serve. Ack wearing the T-shirt and the maroon colored trunks. His jump serve has been very, very good today. And he serves Ricky Luyties, and Luyties hits it straight down. So Brent Frohoff will have the ball for his team. Our first referee is Greg Kraus. And our second official is Verna Klubnikin. So Brent Frohoff serving. 9th year on the Pro Tour. He serves it over to Hovland, and Hovland cuts it through the block. So Tim Hovland, black hat, black shirt, black trunks, black attitude. Volatile, explosive.
Entertaining. Glad to have him back.
Says he has an on-edge personality. I am what I am. And he serves the first ball out of bounds. So the Hov, who has finished 9th in 4 consecutive tournaments, back in it this week here in Cleveland, Ohio. Ricky Luyties to serve.
4 nights in a row will get Hov very edgy. Has not been in the top 4 since the Clearwater Cuervo tournament, and that was a long time ago.
Pretty good dig by Frohoff, and Ayakatubby on one. Scott Ayakatubby and Brent Frohoff, opponents in this particular match, but long-time great friends and childhood players together, grew up together.
Won their first tournament together in Santa Cruz a long, long time ago with their jump serve, and Hov's got to be very, very happy to have Ack back for a number of reasons. He's blocked well throughout the tournament. That's his biggest weapon, the jump serve right there. And that makes life. Look at the back of Ack's T-shirt, Ack's back, and that tells the story. And we'll give you more details on his comeback and the problems that he has faced over the last year. Really had a difficult time physically.
28 years old is Ack. Hasn't won since 1990. He jams that one out of bounds. And so Brent Frohoff will have it. Frohoff, born May 10th, 1963. A couple of seconds this year, one in Clearwater and one in San Diego. He's played the entire season with Ricky. Hovland, and Hovland whacks it out of bounds. We're tied at 1. Hovland thought he got a touch for a moment.
Well, that ball was just long, and questioning Greg Kraus right now about a touch. Hovland and Ayakatubby had a 13-8 lead in the finals of the winner's bracket. Everything going their way against Karch Kiraly and Kent Steffes, and then let that slip through their fingers. Kiraly and Steffes dug in, and Hovland and Ayakatubby, I think, figuring they had the match won or even went the other way and got a little bit tight and really let that one slip away.
So Tim Hovland to serve. If you're wondering about the Hov, yes, he's a veteran. 60 career wins, 53 with Mike Dodd. And going right to Frohoff. It's 1-1. Frohoff off his longtime partner, Scott Ayakatubby, out of bounds. So give the ball to Ricky Luyties. Luyties, big, strong, physical, black shirt, red and blue hat today. 6 open wins all time. First one coming in Manhattan in 1988. And the service there gives the ball back to Scott Ayakatubby. Ayakatubby playing the first 5 tournaments of 1992. Then he mysteriously fell off the tour. Just recently he admitted to you, Paul, that he had been living the fast life and partying too much, perhaps drinking a little too much. And he caused him a number of physical problems, and he's been out all this time.
Well, there just wasn't any balance to his life. He was playing hard, training hard, and partying hard. And he said, you know, when I got to the 92 season after Hawaii, my body just shut down. I was just working it too hard, both on and off the court.
Frohoff, 1-1, and Frohoff gets it right through. So Brent Frohoff thunders one through. Frohoff is 1/16th Cherokee Indian. He says he comes from his mom's side of the family. He thinks his great-grandmother had a lot of Cherokee Indian in her. And he will serve. Right down the line to Hoffman. 1-1 is our score. Nice dig.
Joust coming.
Oh, and Hovland pushes Luyties on his butt. Tough to do that. Luyties, one of the stronger players on tour.
Well, it is often a question of who is the strongest, but it also is who hits the ball last, who gets the second push. And there you see Ricky went first, Hov came second and got the joust.
Tim Hovland serving. We're tied at 1. Winner of this match goes on to play Karch Karai and Kent Stefford. Luyties blocked by Ayakatubby.
Well, Ricky really let that ball drop. When he's on and his timing is good, Luyties can hit the ball as high, as hard as anyone out here, but really let that ball drop into the hands of Scott Ayakatubby.
Hovland and Ayakatubby will alternate blocking and digging, which is good for both of them. Luyties, and Luyties pumps it through. Of course, Ricky Luyties, the fabulous UCLA star, won 4 straight NCAA championships for Al Skates at UCLA. His overall record, 126 and 7. 126 wins and only 7 losses. And the guy who had a better record than that, Karch, at 124 at 5. Ack, poke, score it. Side out.
You know, Frohoff and Luyties have had a pretty consistent summer. They finished second twice, a lot of thirds, fourths, and fifths, only a 9th in Phoenix, their only disappointment. But they've had a really tough go of it. In the quarterfinals, they faced the Brazilians week in and week out. This week, they lost in the quarterfinals. We'll have to check our tournament results. They lost to Johnson and Vanderway, so their seeding right now is in such a situation they're having a tough time.
All right, Frohoff and Ricky Luyties get the side out. We'll take a short break. 2-1 is our score when we return. Scott Ayakatubby serving. I tell you, Scott Ayakatubby wearing the Primitive Prince. His trunks, as great as they are, could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 5-5 is our score. Plenty of time left. Chris Marlowe with Paul Sunderland. An interesting semifinal. Ayakatubby and Hovland against Luyties and Frohoff. Ricky Luyties and Brent Frohoff led early 5-3, but then Tim Hovland served up an ace. Ack got an ace, and that's where we stand 5-5. Ebb-tide kind of action, and here comes Frohoff to fire one up. And he whips it to Hovland. Good pass. Ayakatubby is a meticulous setter, and Hovland hits it out.
Boy, some unforced errors from Tim Hovland, a couple of them. Ricky Luyties waffled the ball out of bounds. Frohoff and Luyties marginally on what we think is the good side right now. Important juncture. This has been an up-and-down kind of match so far. Ayakatubby with some good serving, Frohoff with some good defense. But who's going to take control in the middle portion of the match?
So Tim Hovland will serve. He had his father, Carl Hovland, a great athletic career. His father had 13 letters at Loyola University, 4 in football, 4 in basketball, 4 in baseball, and 1 year in tennis. His dad in the Loyola Hall of Fame. Tim would describe his dad as a tough, hard-nosed kind of player, so you can see where Tim gets his enthusiastic reputation. Or as my father used to say, the apple doesn't roll far from the tree. Ricky Luyties serving. It's 6-5. Luyties and Frohoff have the lead. Ack. And right to Frohoff. Expecting it. Ack expecting Frohoff. Ack. Oh, and he whacks it out of bounds. How good a shape is Scott Ayakatubby in right now?
Well, I talked to him about that. He said he's been lifting 3 or 4 days a week, playing games virtually every day, and then, of course, playing in the tournament since San Antonio. And he thinks he's injury-free. And he said, look, with all the problems I've had, I wouldn't have come back out here if I didn't think I was ready. Here he waffles the ball out of bounds, but just didn't get good liftoff. I think, particularly with the cool weather yesterday, physically he's having no troubles at all.
Frohoff is reading the defense, and there goes Hovland. Apparently Hovland only has 1 shirt left because he's taking it off very gently. He's wiping his sunglasses. Let's see what he does with it. Will he throw it in the crowd? Will he tear it up? What will he do with it?
I think he's just going to preserve it. I think this one's going quietly over to the sidelines after a...
Maybe he's going to whack Ayakatubby with it. 8-5 is our score. We were tied at 5, and Hovland and Ayakatubby trying to hang on here. Luyties and Frohoff playing very, very well, and Hov finally throws it over into the player's box. So saving his tank top for the final, perhaps.
Exactly. Wishful thinking, saving it for the final.
And Luyties will serve it up. Right Right to Ayakatubby. That's a serving mistake. Ack, whip it!
And whip it good. Give me the name of that group.
I'll get it in a second.
By Hovland and Ayakatubby. For the side out, Ack back to serve.
Scott Ayakatubby, 85 Santa Cruz, also won the Indoor World Championship of Beach Volleyball. That was up in Calgary, Canada back in 1987. Luyties, and Luyties pounding it down. I'm not sure Hovland and Ayakatubby can win this if Hovland's getting serve and he's not spiking the ball. He's got to hit the ball hard.
Well, you know, again, you've got to establish your ability to put the ball away decisively, the hard cross court, down the line, over the top, whatever, and then let Hov cuff the ball around as he chooses. But I think you need to establish that ability.
Working on Hov.
That's a good set.
Oh, and Frohoff, he was kind of stuck cement feet, and he got the chicken wing up, and he got caught in between.
Fro was right there. He's doing a much better job of reading as a defensive player than I think he has in the past. He's getting, if we were to chart him, I think he's getting his hands on a lot more balls than, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago.
Here comes the Hov, trailing 8-5. Luyties, blocked by Frohoff and score. Luyties tried to hit angle, and most people know that Luyties likes to hit angle off the net, on the net. He'll crank it straight down line.
And you've got to know the opposition. You're exactly right. When that ball is set 5 or 6 feet back, Ricky Luyties prefers to go cross court. Ayakatubby knows it and jumps in and takes away the angle.
Here comes the Hov, and he's serving Ricky. USC Trojan on a UCLA Bruin, and Ricky lost one down the line. Nicely done.
Right sideline by Ricky Luyties. So Luyties taking the instructions of his center.
So
Frohoff on the play, going down the line.
Who has one brother. He's 38 years old. He calls him the brain of the family, the valedictorian. Hovland got it.
Hovland banging away.
So Hovland gets the side out. And Scott Ayakatubby will serve.
Ack to serve on the side out.
So far, Hovland's received 16 serves, Ayakatubby only 6. So the strategy is obvious, trying to wear the Hov down.
Here comes Ack. And Ayakatubby with a dig right back to Frohoff. Get out of the way, Ricky. Let me hit one. Hovland out of bounds.
Strike off the block of Tim Hovland out of bounds by Brett Frohoff.
It was a subtle play, but Ricky Luyties should have played that ball for 2 reasons. One, a little bigger hitter, Frohoff's the better setter, but also if Luyties bumps the ball on one, then Frohoff, being the left-sider, has the ball on his side, on hand, can hit it on 2. You eliminate that option if the right-sider passes the ball.
Good point. Down the middle, Ack with a spectacular bump save to Hovland, and Ack buries it. Some guy behind it said, Ack's going to bury it. He did.
And Luyties almost got buried. Ricky was trying to pull off the net and play defense, just stumbled and went down. Look at Tim Hovland getting his bearings, and he just wants to give Ayakatubby something he can swing at. Look at poor Ricky Luyties. Just stumbled trying to back up and play some defense. And obviously no court coverage there.
Ayakatubby looking good. However, his team trailing 8-6. Luyties and Frohoff have the lead. Luyties. Hovland, chance for a point. Ack. Got it. That's a good point.
Very tight play. Ayakatubby just poking the ball straight down. You got to contact it before it gets to the other side.
So 8-7 is our score. We'll come back. We'll have more pro action for you after this. Finishers here in Cleveland, Ohio. Adam Johnson, Brooke Vandeweghe. Solid 4th place. Dan Brabalovich and Troy Tanner played very, very well. They finished 5th. Surprise team of the week, Leif Hansen, Bill Bouillon, also in 5th. Al Jansen, Craig Moonhart. Another good finish for them. They get 7th. John Hanley and David Swadek, the kid and the veteran, get 7th. Mike Dodd, Mike Whitmarsh, a terrible finish for them. Brian Lewis, Randy Stoklos, a terrible finish for them. St. John Smith and Chris Young, a terrible finish for them. Brian Gatsky and Jeff Rogers, okay, in 9th place. So a lot of the big guns, I tell you, 9th place looked like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for AVP volleyball.
There are a lot of big names all bunched together now. I called it the big names in 9th this week. But Jansen, Moutard have been very solid the last couple of weeks. It was good to see them with a good finish, and Hanley and Swadek played very well also.
Tim Hovland has put his jersey back on. 8-7 is our score. Luyties and Frohoff up by 1. And into the corner. Luyties and Frohoff trailed 2-0. Then came back and led 5-3. Hovland got an ace. Ack got an ace. Tied up at 5-5. Luyties and Frohoff went out 8-5. And then, as they just done, Hovland and Ayakatubby coming back and pulling to within 1, 8-7. Hovland Ackman getting most of their points. Look at that. Right to Frohoff and just over his left hand out of bounds. Say, Hovland has no velocity hitting today. Maybe he's trying to save his energy for the final.
Well, you know, Ack sets the ball so well and so consistently. You know, Hov feels comfortable that he's smart enough, can see the court go over the block, but Fro has had several chances. If he just pushes a little bit more defensively, he can come up with a couple of plays.
Frohoff has made some very, very good digging plays this year. Brent Frohoff, his father is an engineer at the Redondo Beach Fire Department. He competes in the Firemen's Olympics in volleyball and skiing. Mother Diane recently hired as a flight attendant for American, so she's going to be jetting around and watching Brent play.
But Frohoff very close to football-ting.
Hovland stopped by Luyties. Ricky with a block.
Every time I see Ricky Luyties block a ball like that, I remember back to when he and Adam Johnson won the World Championship, or the U.S. Championships, and he can just be intimidating. We talked about Hov not chopping the ball around. Well, he challenged Luyties that time and paid for it.
9-7 Frohoff and Luyties with a 2-point lead. Hovland, and he whacks it hard. Good velocity from Hovland, who's trying to rev up his game. In defense of Tim Hovland, after he won Phoenix, he said he hurt his foot once again. It's that troglodyte toe that he had injured dancing at the Cuervo party a couple of years ago, but he re-injured his toe, and he has not been 100%. He's even wearing a little foot support on his left foot, Paul, and that has hampered him.
You know, but Hov just doesn't miss tournaments. He can have half his toe cut off. Remember a couple of years ago, I think it was in Sacramento, he dislocated his shoulder, his left shoulder, diving after a ball. They strapped it to his body. There you see the tape on Tim Hovland's foot. I think that's supporting an arch, but he's had tape all over his feet and toes ever since Phoenix. He said the hot sand in Phoenix just sort of wore away the scar tissue, and his foot started to fall apart.
Great dig by Frohoff. Can he put it away? Yes. Frohoff getting an excellent set from Ricky Luyties. Point now 10-7. So a Luyties block made it 9-7. A Frohoff dig runs it to 10-7. Once again, Karch Karai can't step it. A subpar Karch Karai today. He has been sick. He has had food poisoning. He has been throwing up, and he is trying to hang in. Didn't want any of the other players to know it.
I talked to Karch after the semifinals, and he was just sitting way over by himself and not saying a word to anybody. I came over and I said, Karch, what are you angry about? You just won. He says, I am so sick. He was out with some people last night, a business engagement, one of his sponsors, and thinks that he got a little stomach virus there, and he said he was up all night at the hotel. And I said, Karch, you got to drink water. You got to take fluids. He says, Paul, I can't even keep water down.
Yeah.
And boy, when they came back and won the winner's bracket after being down 13-8, I promise you, Karch went immediately back to the hotel and probably got out of the sun and
locked himself in the bathroom.
Absolutely. We all know the feeling. All of us have had that happen to us at one time.
10-7. And off Hovland, out of bounds. Give Ricky Luyties the kill. Luyties and Frohoff led early 5-3. Hovland caught up to 5-5. Frohoff and Luyties went out 8-5. Hovland came back a couple of aces, made it 8-7. Now Luyties and Frohoff once again drawing out by 3. It's 10-7. Ack. Frohoff. Nice Luyties. Yes!
What a nice scramble by Brent Frohoff. Really moving well, and like I said, if he just ups his defensive intensity a little bit, be it against Ayakatubby or against Hovland, his team can move out in this match. Ball squeaks through the block, and then Fro, with a very, very quick reaction, pokies the ball straight up. And Ricky Luyties really with a creative shot to the corner.
So Brent Frohoff playing some hellacious defense behind the block. Luyties and Frohoff with 3 minutes and 13 seconds to go in this match. 11-7, a 4-point bulge. Chris Marlowe and Paul Sunderland, 10 serving 13, semifinal action. The Miller Lite Cleveland Open. Luyties and Frohoff trying to hang on. A gorgeous set by Brent Frohoff sets up Luyties.
What a fabulous set. That may well have sealed the fate of Tim Hovland and Scott Ayakatubby. Tough passing chance by Ricky Luyties, and Frohoff just dished the ball up there.
29.5 seconds to go in this one. And you would think it's a safe lead, but we've seen stranger things happen. Got to pump it down right now. Ack got it.
There's still time. Still time. Ack needs a stuff block right here. They don't need rallies. They don't need to dig a ball, and then put it away and score. They
I
need to
believe
block
it
the
was
ball.
in one of the Lewis-Stokos matches where Lewis and Stokos were ahead by a point with 2 seconds to
Right,
go.
exactly. Ricky,
And,
excuse me.
Yeah, Verbalovich.
Verbalovich blocked Randy Stokos to tie it.
And then Stokos and Lewis went on to lose in sudden death. Down the line, Hovland could not come up with it. And it appears that Hovland and Ayakatubby are just about out of it. 19 seconds, a 3-point lead now for Frohoff and Luyties. You got to be thinking, run out the clock.
Stay down and just serve it high and deep. Take a good 2-3 seconds off the clock before anybody touches it on the other side.
Hovland and Ayakatubby played very, very well in this 2-day double elimination tournament. Frohoff, and the ball goes down with 12.7 seconds.
Talked at the beginning of this semifinal about the unfortunate luck of Randy Stokos and Brian Lewis. They lost to Ayakatubby and Tim Hovland 15-14 in the quarterfinals. So you lose 2 games, you're eliminated, of course, double elimination tournament by a total of 2 points.
Timeout taken by Frohoff and Luyties. Frohoff got a mouthful of sand. Interesting article in the USA Today, I think it was last week, Paul, about beach volleyball is going to be included in the 1994 Goodwill Games and possibly the Olympics. Talk more about that a little later. 13-10 is our score. And down the hatch.
From the right side by Ricky Luyties.
Have stayed on Ricky Luyties just as I thought they would. Tried to challenge some of his consistency.
Luyties with the serve. And the time just about run out as Ack taps it. Just about 4 seconds to go.
3 seconds to go.
And so Hov will run it out here. It appears Luyties and Frohoff going to advance. So Hov needs a bigger miracle than he found in Phoenix.
Well, and has the ankle taped, and I think landed.
Oh!
Look out. Hov going for the hard jump serve, knows that he virtually has no chance, but landed on Ricky Luyties early. And Hov's not going to go get that thing taped up unless it's bothering and getting progressively worse. This match is over, and Frohoff and Luyties are in the finals for the 3rd time this year.
That will do it. So Hov tattoos another one in there. Good performance by Hovland and Ayakatubby, but not quite enough. The final score officially, in case somebody asked you about semifinal action in Cleveland, Brent Frohoff and Ricky Luyties win it 14-10. They'll go on and face the challenge of trying to knock off Karch Karai and Kent Stevis in our championship final. Stay with us.